So this is kind of a tutorial that a lot of people usually ask for with flares. I figured I'd throw it out here for like one of the first ones that I can put on here because I'd rather just have it up here for anybody to watch. So this might be a little bit more lengthier because this is a flare. It's a little bit more complicated. Again, this isn't something that I can teach with just telling you guys how to do this move, right? I can give you guys the steps to do it, but everybody's different. Everybody's body is different. So the best way for me to teach you is to give you feedback or to kind of, see video of you and let you know what's going on. So I'm going to teach you guys the way that I learned, and probably the best way that I think is, especially doing flares, is probably one of my most foundational power moves for probably over 20 years now. So this is the best that I can, basically easiest way I can kind of explain it in a short period of time. Okay, so one, this is not a beginner move. This is more advanced, but if you are a beginner, you want to test this out, make sure you have proper protection on the ground to make sure you're not going to get injured. Do not injure yourself doing this. It takes a lot of stretching. Make sure you're fully ready to go. You're probably going to be hurting the next day if you're practicing all day, because I know I was when I first started. So let's just get to it. So step one, we're going to do what we call the normal power wind up, right? I won't go too much into detail about this. I can make another video on this later on. So the reason why we do this power wind up, realistically, you don't need to start standing up. I think people just get comfortable doing it this way. We're going to start from this position. I'm going to be doing a flare counter actual clockwise. So I'm going to be taking my right leg, okay? Very simple in the beginning. Hard parts in the back, okay? So bear with me for the beginning. What we're going to do is we're going to take this right leg over here, this one. You're going to swing it all the way around, okay? Right hand down on the ground. Hand positioning, do not too far out here. Do not too far in here. Realistically, you could be all right, but more comfortably, have it about right where your face is, okay? Right to the right or the left side of your face, depending on what hand you're using. So I'm going to kick this leg, okay? Spots that I aim for when I do a flare, I don't really think about it at this point anymore, but the spot that I usually hit is not the knee. I know a lot of people say aim for the knee. I think that's a little bit too high. Keep it more towards the floor. It doesn't need to be like a centimeter away, but basically, I would say for your calf, okay? So aim for the calf, okay? Now, when you shoot this leg to your calf, your left leg is coming to your face, okay? And I don't mean it's like kicking you in the face. I mean, you just need your thigh to come in and this leg to kick out, okay? The way this leg is going to kick out, now I'll try to do this slowly for you. Well, I'll do the first part. So kick here. This leg is technically kicking towards 2 o'clock for you, okay? It's kicking towards 2 o'clock, and your right leg is going to finish up coming under, okay? Now, realistically, I wouldn't start putting your other hand down yet until you kind of get this whip better, okay? What's going to happen is when this leg goes up, this hand's got to go down, okay? It can't be too late. You're going to fall on your butt. So showing you a little bit slowly, this leg's coming here. So when this comes here, okay? That's the first part you're going to have to get to learn, okay? This is that motion. That's part one. This is not even the flare, okay? It's the easy part. It's the beginning part, okay? Technically, this is the part that everybody loves to see anyways. So part one, okay? Again, we're going to switch or kick this leg up. As this leg is coming up and this leg is following up, this hand needs to go down to support yourself. I know people say, hey, can you do, sitting on the ground holding this, right? I'm telling you right now, that has nothing to do with it. Maybe it plays a little bit of a part into it, but you don't need to hold that for 25 minutes in order to do a flare. I'll say that right now. Okay, so if anybody's telling you that, it's false. Don't worry about it. So back to this. Remember your hand placement. okay? This is the first part. This is what you want in a smooth motion first, okay? So again, we're gonna kick the back of our calf. The leg is going to come to your face. As your body starts to shift sideways, your hand should be already there, waiting to go, okay? So again, I'm gonna kick here, okay? So again, I kick, flare, okay? Hand to the ground. So here, hand, okay? Not that slow. I'm doing it slow right now because I'm showing you guys, but kick your calf, here, okay? This is the motion you need. If you need to keep your foot on the ground right now, keep your foot on the ground right now. It's no biggie, okay? But you want to get it to, I'm going to say, this is the first part you want to get to until we're sneaking to the back, all right? So first part you want to get down is to about here. Here, okay? That's where you want to get to until you're like, okay, I can start working towards the back now, okay? So you need to grind this first part out until you're at about that part, okay? If I can go as slow as possible, if you guys want to rewind it as much as you can, again, from this angle. Okay? First part you need to get down is that part, okay? Second part, this is the tough part for everybody, okay? So this is the part that takes time. I'm going to be honest with you. When I was a kid, I had swoosh pants on, and I let my legs drag on the back of me, right? I think the motion is more important than you having the strength for it at the time, okay? The motion is going to help you out. What you want to do, people fall into a bad idea of, I don't have good form, so I'm going to practice until I get good form in the front. Do not waste your time on that. You're going to waste so much time when it's not about form in the beginning. Get the move and the motion first, then worry about your form. I know it's a lot of people are impatient with breaking. You want to move like right away, but these are one of those moves where not everybody's going to have good form in the beginning. You know, you can mold that after you get the move. The motion is what matters, okay? So we got the first part down, okay? Second part. The next checkpoint that you want to get to is getting to the back, okay? There's nothing I can tell you besides practice and working the muscle groups and getting more flexible for you to get the next section down, okay? It's not a simple trick. I know if you guys have looked at YouTube tutorials, people have said, you just need to center your weight more. You need to shift your weight to the left more. You need to put your hand down faster more. Guys, you can hear how to do it. The steps are fine. Most of the steps that I see online or tell people to do, I'm telling you truthfully, or I see people telling you truthfully, you know? The issue is your body's not built for it yet, or it's not made for it yet. The motion's not there yet. Motion is very important. So you got two choices. One, continue to work on it, strength, flexibility wise, or two, you're going to have to get some swoosh bands, and you're kind of just going to have to let your legs drag in the back and push that second one out. So when we get to the back, okay, as soon as our legs are in the air, okay, and we're coming around to here, we need to make sure once we are coming to the next side that this leg, so just to get you guys not confused, we are kicking this. This leg is in the air. This leg that is coming on this side needs to stay up. If it falls, your hips are going to sink. Your hips sinking to the ground means dunzo for the flare, okay? So the way that you do this is after you kick towards your face and this leg is coming around, you need to double think technically, which is very hard to do. It's a lot of thinking, which is also where people kind of get stuck. You have to think about, after you get used to the motion in the front, you should basically start to think less, right, about that actual motion. Once you start to think less about that actual motion, you can start to think about other things to help you out, okay? Next thing you gotta start thinking about is this second leg that comes up needs to stay up, okay? So when you're kicking your face with this one and this one is following up, you need to start thinking about taking this leg as high as you can as well. As soon as you start taking this leg as high as you can, your weight shifts to your next hand now, right? which will leave you in this position, okay? Now, obviously, your hips are not going to be that high at first, but that's where you need to get to, okay? Hips have to be up. It's harder than it is for me saying it. I know. I was so frustrated when people said, keep your hips up. I know we all get frustrated at it, but literally, that's what it is. You have to keep your hips up. So, with that being said, coming back around, the next checkpoint that you're going to hit is you want to end here, okay? Or at least skipping to the back, okay? So, we're going to kick, legs are going to come up, I'm going to swing to the back, okay? So, from here to the back, okay? Now, just because I did that doesn't mean I have a flare yet, right? I think actually having the flare is following up into another flare, okay? So, but I will say, you practice that over and over again, you're going to be able to do it too, you know? The issue with having a power move into another power move is the thinking of it. I think mill is probably the only thing you don't really got to think about. You just fall into your back, you land in the mill, right? You're so used to it. Doing another flare out of a flare, you have to go right back into thinking, oh, I got to make sure my leg's kicking, right? It's a lot of thinking. It's going to take some time, which is why flares usually take some time. But some people just take a little bit longer to do it, okay? So again, going back to this. So as soon as we're onto this side, when this leg, make sure this leg is staying up, okay? Your weight is shifted to your left side, okay? Part 3 of this, so now that we have basically a full round of flare, right? You made it all the way to the back, right? And now you're like, I can't do another flare out of this, okay? That's the third problem that people usually fall into. Also, on the side note, I can make a completely different tips and tricks as soon as we get through this flare tips and tricks video on flares, because I know people have certain problems with their flares as well that I can help out. So tip number 3, okay? This is the best way to learn doing multiple flares, okay? Learn flares from this position, okay? This is a different wind-up position, okay? It helps a lot, and it definitely helps out comboing power moves, okay? From flares to air flares to mills to swipes. So the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to start. I know people see this position used a lot. They're just wind-ups, okay? I'm not sure if people call it like a Cali or something. It's different. We just called them wind-ups when we were younger, okay? So this position, I'm sure you guys have already learned a little bit. If you're watching an advanced flare tutorial, I'm sure you've seen tutorials already on how people do this, okay? So this is just something you got to get used to. It's this wind-up motion, okay? And I'm sure you guys have seen this, right? People call it a Cali, okay? This is probably your best bet into learning how to add a flare into, existing flares, okay? Because we are starting from that position already that ends in the flare, okay? So starting from the back side of a flare, best way to practice it is to start from a Cali, okay? Now, I'm going to show you guys without doing it, just where we need to be. So this is very tough. It's tougher than learning the first part of the flare. So you got to bear with yourself at this as well. You got to let your hips ride out. You can't drop. Your hips are going to have to drop, but you have to let it ride out in a motion, okay? It's very hard to explain. You just kind of got to watch it. So the way that this is going to work is I'm going to shift my weight to this side, right? Just like a normal Cali, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to place this hand down. Since my hips are high enough right now, I'm going to let them sink into the flare, okay? Again, like I said, you need the motion, the first motion down, packed, where you don't have to think about it really, okay? This motion of your legs doing a flare, you need that motion down before we're doing this. I mean, who am I to say? You might have it just doing it once. But if you're struggling with it, I'm telling you, probably go back to that motion. That's probably where you're having trouble with it. So from that Cali point, we're going to go straight into this flare, okay? So like I said, from our start where we kick, right? This leg comes up, this leg follows through. We're doing the same thing with a Cali, okay? We're starting from a Cali. So we're going to be starting from here and we're going to be coming into the kick straight away, okay? So there's no from here to here. It's from here to here, okay? So the Cali adds this in, which also plays a factor into comboing your flares together, okay? Cali is very important when transferring into power moves, out of power moves. So with that being said, we do from the back, your weight's going to transfer, just like a Cali, into the flare, okay? So if I'm to do Cali into that, okay? Cali into flare. So Cali, okay? That's me dragging my feet because I'm just trying to show the front part first, right? So again, Cali into flare. Cali. Best thing to practice, right? That's how you're going to get flare into a flare, okay? It's not a lot for me to say besides showing you a couple tricks or like how to do it. So just watch this, you know, practice it. And then I'll make another tutorial on kind of some tips and tricks once we figure the first part out. If you guys need feedback, obviously it's another tier of the Patreon. Feel free to hit me up. Other than that, that's about it. Enjoy.